This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villain Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla, Grosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and MM The nightly podcasts are Palace Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports. Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, The Michigan Truth Sports Podcast, Off the Rails, NFC Northeast, Power Hours, and Detroit Lions News. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Hope you like all the shows.
Oh, yeah, it's the External Bum Show. I'm Ralph Williams. Here's some Chicago for you in the Saturday in the Park because it's a Saturday morning, and we're here every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. right here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter X platforms, and we're also on the Huddle Sports Network. I want to welcome everybody from the Huddle Sports Network. We're also on PENNSMAN's YouTube channel, and we're also on the South Florida Tribune as well. My guests today are Ray FIDEPALDO and PENNSMAN Sports. We have a new lineup here coming up soon here on the External Bum. Scott Morganroth and Candy Ebling are in the at the Super Bowl, so they will not be. Scott will not be joining us today. We're waiting for Leo Haggerty from Amped Up Sports to join us. He's our regular co-host here and contributor to the show. In the meantime, we're also I want to talk. We're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studios at 724-2010-500 Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. And Leo Haggerty has just joined us here. And that's 724-2010-500 Mata Heating and Air Conditioning, our studio sponsor. And we're here at Studios 808 in the Allentown section of the city of Pittsburgh, right here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Home of the Steelers, Penguins, Pirates, Riverhounds, and a whole lot more in the Pitt Panthers as well as that. Leo, welcome to the program. Leo Haggerty from Amped Up Sports. Our guest, Ray FIDEPALDO and PENNSMAN Sports. Say hello to Leo.
Hey, good morning, guys. Good to see you.
Good morning, Leo.
Morning, Leo.
All right, Leo, Scott's not available today because of he's at the Super Bowl, and Jeremy has withdrew from the show. So just to let you know.
All right, well. Let's drop back 13 and putt and get going. What do you think, guys?
We are. Leo, we'll start with you. I know you're late, but we'll start with you with the bum. But first, we're going to go into who our sponsor is for the bum segment, and that's Scott Morganroth's book, Lessons from the Microphone. Tuning into enduring wisdom of visionary leaders, 45 years in the media business. Scott's book is very good. I've read it, and it's a great book. It'll give you some tips on how to deal with the past media, how the past media was, and the current media is going on right now. So you can find it at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and also at the Scott's publisher as well. All right, guys, let's get the bum segment started. Leo, we'll start with you. Your bum for today.
Well, you know what, guys? I hate to keep saying this is the bum, but again, it's the NCAA. And if this organization says it's interested in player safety, I got to put the BS card out there for that. How do you allow players to show up in a game in a pair of short pants? When the pants don't even reach the knee, how can you say you have knee pads? And I'll tell you what, if I had to play like this, I'd have never played football because I'm not a dirty player. But if you're going to disrespect me and not show respect by putting a knee pad on, the first hit you're getting is my shoulder pad on your kneecap. Let's see how that feels. NCAA, how about getting with the program and protecting players. I know why you're allowing this, because they can run faster. Well, guess what? NASCAR figured out they don't need these cars running faster. They put restrictor plates on. Think of the knee pads as the restrictor plate and protecting these players.
All right. PENNSMAN, you're bum for today.
My bum is the Yankees owner, Hal Steinbrenner. He said he said that he can't put a team together because of money. He has $3.7 billion, and he can't go out and get a player or re-sign Juan Soto because of money issues. Come on.
All right. Ray FIDEPALDO, you're bum. Welcome to the show again today, Ray. How are you?
I'm good, Ralph. How about I'll loop them all into one big conglomerate here. Roger Goodell, the NFL office, and whoever is in charge of replay assist. Year after year, we get these calls in these important games. You know, first down with the Bills, the Chiefs game. Looks like Josh Allen gets it. They don't change it. All kinds of terrible spots throughout the playoffs. If we're going to have this in our game, let's get it right. Put a computer chip in a football. If you can't get it from New York, you can't correct it. Put a computer chip in a football, and let's go from there, because what you're doing right now isn't working.
All right. My bums, and I'm going to say bums, are the NFL teams who did not hire Mike McCarthy as a head coach. Shame on you for letting a guy like Mike McCarthy sit out there when you knew you could have hired him. He's a really good head coach and a great offensive coordinator. Somebody will hire him as an assistant somewhere, and I hope they do, and I hope they succeed with Mike McCarthy. I'm saying that because he's from Pittsburgh. His parents still live here in the Greenfield section of Pittsburgh. He's a great guy. I wish the Steelers would sign him, but as PENNSMAN and I were talking before we came on the air here, I was laughing because it's hilarious that the Steelers probably will not sign Mike McCarthy because Mike Tomlin likes yes men as his assistant. So that's my bum today. Bums, actually, is these NFL teams who did not hire Mike McCarthy. And that's it for me today for that. And that is our bum segment today. Once again, brought to you by Scott Morganroth's book, Lessons from the Microphone, and Enduring Wisdom of the Visionary Leaders by Scott Morganroth. So go and pick up his book today. Our next segment coming up, we're going to dissect the new NFL coaches and the teams. Or is it good? Is it bad for them? Or is it ugly? And I like the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we're going to go into that. All right, this segment's brought to you by Digital Data. Go to digitaldata.com. Listen, if you do not have Digital Data managing your website, shame on you. Because you know why? Digital Data has very affordable monthly prices. And get this, I email the guy that handles my website. Within an hour, it's posted. Within an hour or less, it's posted. And then he emails me back and says it's done, just like Leo does when he says he's on it. All right, same concept. Digitaldata.com. If you don't deal with them, shame on you. All right, digitaldata.com. All right, let's get to our next segment. We're going to dissect all the teams and their new coaches, the ones that have hired new coaches. First, Chicago, Ben Johnson. Ray, start with you.
Yeah, listen, this is really the perfect fit. You know, there's a lot of questions about there with Caleb. Was he number one pick worthy? Obviously, Eberflus and his staff didn't get the most out of him. So now you move on to really the hottest coordinator that's out there, a guy who did great things in Detroit. Listen, if Ben Johnson can't get it done with Caleb, then I think it's going to be on Caleb. So we'll see if it works. You know, they had a bad record this year, but if you look at it, they blew a lot of games. Look back at that Commanders game. They should have had that one. There were a few other games like that. So if Ben Johnson can just get them a few more wins, I don't think they're all that far off. And I think, obviously, the linchpin will be the play of Caleb Williams.
All right, PENNSMAN.
I'm going to go with what Ray said. He forgot about the Lions game, too. That if they made one or two more plays, they probably would have beaten the Lions, too. But Ben Johnson is a good fit for the Bears. He can mentor Caleb Williams into the quarterback that he needs. I think the Bears are going to be a little bit better. I give them 8 wins with Ben Johnson. I think it's a solid pickup.
All right, Leo Haggerty.
Well, you know what, guys? Here's the scary thing. Maybe Eberflus got as much out of Caleb Williams as he has. That's what's scary. I go back to when they took him. I said it was a mistake. It was the wrong guy. Jaden Daniels was definitely the #1 pick. And I'll tell you what, I think Washington sending Chicago a playoff portion just for taking them because they're the only one of the 32 teams that thought Caleb Williams was the best. I think they're at least a year away. If they can win 6 games next year, that would be great because they found out what happened when they get into the division. And how about the NFL not scheduling them a division game till week 11? Whoa, that was ugly. But again, he was the hot commodity. He's the guy that can hopefully turn it around because, hey, if 5 years ago we'd have said Detroit would be battling for a berth in the Super Bowl, people would have said, okay, you're smoking something crazy. So, yeah, he's the right guy. He may not have the right quarterback. Again, let's go back to Chicago with Mitch Trubisky. They passed on Deshaun Watson. They passed on Patrick Mahomes. They may be stuck with this.
And Carson Wentz.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, next. Pete Carroll, the Las Vegas Raiders. We'll start with you, Ray.
Yeah, I mean, listen, with all of Tom Brady's connections to former Patriots, I was a little bit surprised at this one, not just because Pete Carroll is in his 70s, but there's really no, connection between, Tom Brady and him in the past. So, they obviously missed out on Vrabel. Vrabel thought the Patriots was a better job. There were some other guys who maybe could have been in contention there. Guys who worked for Belichick in the past. So for me, obviously Pete Carroll's going to be a good culture guy, but when you hire a guy in his 70s, it's obviously a short-term move. So I'm a little bit lukewarm on this one. I think the Raiders will get better, but this one didn't knock my socks off.
All right, Leo Haggerty.
Ray, I agree with you. It's not a long-term move. The guy's in his 70s and being 71, I know what that's like. It's not a fun situation. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty real quick with the Raiders. How is Tom Brady, a part owner, allowed to broadcast a game? That would be like Jerry Jones in the booth. How about the NFL stepping up and showing some cojones and saying, hey, how about getting Tom where he belongs? If he's going to be an owner, he be an owner. If not, back out and be an announcer. Hey, NFL, how about doing that? I think the Raiders made the right move. It's a stopgap. It's like the little Dutch boy put his finger in the dike. It's going to hold out for 2 or 3 years. Then they find somebody.
All right, Pensman.
I like Pete Carroll in Oakland and Las Vegas. I keep saying Oakland because I'm not used to the transition. But I like the move for them with the Raiders because of what he did with Seattle. If Pete Carroll goes back and does what he did with Seattle, and if Russell Wilson goes with Pete Carroll because of those two chemistries, watch out for the Raiders.
Yeah, that could be. I think the Raiders are going to do pretty well. Pete Carroll's not going to put up with what Antonio Pierce with the culture that he had there, and I believe that the Raiders are going to do a whole lot better with Pete Carroll. At 71 years old, but you know what? Pete Carroll still has. Look at Dick Vermeil, how many times he was in coaching and got out. But you know what? If Pete Carroll can fix his team within 3 or 4 years, he can retire at the age of 75 and say, hey, look what I did with the Raiders. So we'll see where it goes. I know Pete Carroll's a guy of success. And, so Pete Carroll won't put up with what Antonio Pierce made down there as usual. But let's go into our next team, New England Patriots. Mike Vrabel, Pensman, start with you.
Listen, what he did with Tennessee, if he does what he did with Tennessee and develops Drake into a good quarterback, I saw Drake at the pro games. If he does that on the field, Patriots and Drake and Vrabel, they're gonna be nice this year.
All right, Ray FIDEPALDO.
Yeah, I think this is a home run hire. Robert Kraft obviously got a lot of flack for moving on from Mayo after 1 year. I thought there were some bad optics there with Mayo being a minority, but he does make the right move by getting Vrabel. The only question I have about this move is, and it's not so much about Vrabel or the coaches that he's going to bring in. I'm not a big believer in Drake May. I think May has a lot of developing to go. I don't know that he's close, to being a quarterback of a winning football team. So I think this is going to take time, and I think May's going to be, he'll be the deciding factor for whether this is a good hire or not. If he's turns out to be a good QB, I think Vrabel's going to do great things up there. But if not, Mike's going to have his work cut out for him.
Leo Haggerty, Amped Up Sports.
You know what, guys? What we really need to consider with Vrabel and Pete Carroll is their access to assistant coaches. These other guys coming in, they don't have that kind of stream. Pete Carroll, Mike Vrabel. Now, I'll tell you what, if you've ever been to a Mike Vrabel practice, don't bring your kids because it's rated X. It's the F-bomb every other word. And I'll tell you what, welcome to football. That's part of the game. It's a great hire. It's a hometown hire. And I'll tell you what, if Vrabel can't get it done, because one thing you're going to be for sure of, the Patriots are going to be physical now. And they are going to be physical at the point of attack. They're going to be physical on offense. You're going to know you're in a football game with Mike Vrabel as the coach.
Absolutely. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, X platforms. We're on PENNSMAN Sports' YouTube channel. And we're also on the South Florida Tribune and the Huddle Sports Network as well. And soon we're going to be on Sports Villa as well. And I'm still working with Amped Up Sports to be on their network as well. I post my stuff, all my stuff, sports related on Amped Up Sports' Facebook page as well. All right, let's. My opinion on Mike Vrabel is, and I agree with everyone here, that it was a good hire. I hope he keeps Alex Van Pelt. I highly doubt it. He's going to. Probably will bring in Josh McDaniel or somebody like that to be his offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. You got a bunch of guys out there who used to be Patriot assistants that he might bring in as defensive coordinator as well. Mike Vrabel was a good coach at Tennessee. I just wish he would have went a little bit further than what he did, but he still was a good coach. I'm not saying he's a great coach. We'll see what he does in New England. It's always a wait-and-see attitude with new coaches, so we're going to go from there. Next, I feel bad for this guy. I really do. Aaron Glenn, New York Jets. Leo, start with you.
Anybody going to New York got a problem. You're dealing with a cutthroat media. Literally, they want you to fail so they got something to talk about. I tell you, the biggest decision they got to make is Aaron Rodgers. Do you move on from him or do you keep him? The problem is if you move on from him, who then? You're not going to bring Sam Darnold back. I don't think Kirk Cousins fits that mold either. And I don't think they'd want to go to New York. So, yeah, he's got his work cut out for him. I think you stick with Aaron Rodgers because he doesn't want to go out the way he went out and hope for the best.
Well, the best thing, Leo, and let me say this before I go to Ray and PENNSMAN, is that Aaron Glenn has to find himself a really good offensive coordinator. He's a defensive coach, and I hope he gets somebody, or he might even rehire Nathaniel Hackett, because if Aaron Rodgers stays, Hackett will still be their offensive coordinator because that's what Coach Aaron Rodgers wants. So there you go. All right, PENNSMAN Sports.
He wanted to go back to New York because that's where he played. And if you guys haven't been following the media, he said that everybody is under the market. So if you mess up, you're gone. He's already talked to Aaron Rodgers. He's already talked to Garrett Wilson. He's already talked to a bunch of players. If you don't like it, you're out. I like the move. I like the move because of Aaron Glenn's Jets history. We'll see what he does with the team, though.
Oh, absolutely. Ray FIDEPALDO.
Yeah, I think Aaron Glenn is a good football coach, but you guys touched on it. Coaching in New York is really difficult, and then doing it without a solution at quarterback makes it doubly difficult. So I don't think they're close. I know we're going to get to it. I think the best head coaching jobs every single year is when you have a good quarterback lined up, and we'll get to the Jaguars eventually. I think that's a really good job. But to me, I think Eric Glenn, doesn't matter what caliber of coach you are, if you don't have a quarterback, it's going to be tough to win.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I mentioned, they need to get a good offensive coordinator in here. Aaron Glenn needs to hire some good assistants to help him because he's a new head coach. And I know he probably's been around the block, but you know what? Being a head coach is a whole different animal than being an assistant. So there you are. All right, we're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studios, 724-201-0500, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Also, before we move on, don't forget, every Saturday morning, the triple header of Ralph, the Ralph Williams Show with my new co-host, Tony Moreno, who's running for Republican, the mayor of the city of Pittsburgh. We had a great show this morning. And then at 9 o'clock here, don't forget about the External Bum Show here at 9 a.m., right here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter X platforms, and also on the Huddle Sports Network, South Florida Tribune, and soon to be on Sports Survival coming up real soon as well, and some other entities also. And then don't forget about at 2 to 3 p.m. this afternoon, the Sports Corner Radio Show with me, Ralph Williams, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, and Luther Dupree. And today we will be talking later on about a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to talk about championship games. And a bunch of stuff coming up here on the Sports Corner Radio Show. And we're still dissecting the Steelers season and getting ready for the draft. The Combine's coming up real soon. They got the Senior Bowl today and a whole lot more. Ray's going to tell us a little more about that later on. So is PENNSMAN. Okay. Ray hit the nail right on the head, so we're going to let him start first. Well, actually, no. We're going to let Leo Haggerty start first again because Leo is familiar with this hire. Jacksonville Jaguars, Liam Cohen. Leo, go.
Well, I know Peter Blake is still wearing black in mourning of losing Liam Cohen. I think this is a too early hire, but you got to have a patient owner. When Dave Canales went to Carolina last year, I said, if the owner's patient, we'll find out if he's got the right quarterback or not. It's going to be the same thing down there. Liam Cohen, well, once he learned about his Duval, that was a classic. And he's got to get the right people in. He's got to get Trevor Lawrence fixed because Trevor Lawrence will now be on his third head coach in 4 years. And probably Liam Cohen is going to take care of Trevor Lawrence. And I hope he does the same thing that Canales did with Baker Mayfield. He puts Kiss on the board the first day. Says, we're going to keep it simple, stupid. We're just going to let you be Trevor. The nice thing is that division is not winnable, but it's competitable. I don't know if even that's a word, but right. He's in the right division, AFC South. He's going to play Houston, but he's got Indianapolis that's in the same vein. He's got Tennessee that's in the same vein. He can finish second or make a run at it if he gets the right people and stays healthy. So it's a good hire if they have patience with him.
All right, Ray FIDEPALDO.
Yeah, I think it's a good hire. Finally it seems like the owner down there has things situated the right way, finally got rid of the GM. So Cohen is an offensive-minded guy. You have your franchise quarterback. I know he really hasn't played up to it, since that playoff game a couple of years ago now. But to me, I think a guy like Trevor Lawrence with his talent, he is fixable. So I like the hire. As long as they get a good GM in place, they put the right pieces around him. I agree. I think they can be within playoff contention in a year or two, especially within that division. C.J. Stroud took a step back this year. They got some issues with their OC down there.
Yeah, Tennessee Titans, Ray, they can't even find a quarterback. They don't know who's who. They keep flipping a coin every week.
Yeah, and the Colts are mediocre. They're stuck in that mediocre cycle. So I think it's a good hire, and as long as they get some pieces around them, I think they'll be good down there.
All right, PENNSMAN Sports.
I don't really know about this coach. I just heard of him from ESPN and Fox Sports, but if the GM knows what he's doing. If he thinks that it's a good fit, then we'll see what happens. Filling in Doug Pearson's shoes is really hard to do. So if he thinks he can fill Doug Pearson's shoes, let's see what happens. We'll see how that division is weak. So they don't, like you guys said, they don't know what they're doing with the quarterbacks in the division. So maybe with Trevor Lawrence, maybe we'll see if he develops into the Clemson quarterback that we've seen in Clemson. So we'll see.
All right. Yeah, my thoughts are, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Ray. I didn't mean to do that, but anyway, my thoughts are this division, as Ray mentioned, is winnable, and if Liam Cohen can whip that team into shape, I think he'll be okay there. And another coach that has left from the Todd Bowles tree, and everybody in Tampa wants Todd Bowles out. I'll tell you what, guys, Todd Bowles is not doing too bad down there in Tampa. And at least you're getting to the playoffs with Todd Bowles. Just like here in Pittsburgh, we have to accept what we have with Mike Tomlin. So, all right, we're the Dallas Cryboys. Go ahead, PENNSMAN.
He did when you leave New York and you do that. He's done a good job with Baker Mayfield too. Baker Mayfield was horrible in Cleveland, and he went to Tampa, and he amped his game up big time in Tampa.
Yes, he did. And also Dave Canellis, too, got Baker Mayfield into shape. Both of them guys, we got to give credit for dealing with Baker Mayfield because, like you said, PENNSMAN, he was bad in Cleveland. And I was quite surprised. Kevin Stefanski is not a bad offensive-type coach. And he had Alex Van Pelt there, too, as their offensive coordinator for a little while. So we'll see where that goes.
Guys, real quick to jump in, he was hurt. He was hurt bad and still played. Couldn't produce. And that's what hurt him when it came up to contract time. The people said in Cleveland, well, you didn't produce. I said, well, God darn, I got on the field when I shouldn't have. And you know what? It made points with the players. It didn't make points with the front office.
Right, exactly. All right, next. The Dallas Cryboys. Brian Schottenheimer. Let's start with you, Leo.
Do I have to?
Go ahead, Leo.
This was I don't even have words to describe what it is other than Jerry Jones putting somebody in there that will basically do what Jerry Jones wants him to do. And it was just really funny that Brian Schottenheimer's dad, Marty, they were going back to when he was at ESPN, and he said, you know what? If the players are always looking at you and seeing someone looking over your shoulder, you'll never get that locker room. Whew. That may be the case in Dallas. I don't expect them to get any better. The Eagles aren't going anywhere. Washington isn't going anywhere. You're competing with the Giants for the cellar in the NFC East.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you on that one, Leo. But I got to tell you, it's really terrible down there in Dallas. And as usual, he's got somebody that'll kiss his butt, Jerry Jones down there. So we'll let that go on. Next, New Orleans Saints. Look, they say it's to be determined. Or as of right now, it looks like as soon as the Super Bowl's over, Kellen Moore is going to be their head coach. I think this is a good hire. I'll start off here. I think it's a good hire for the Saints. They need to get their act together down there as well. They've been flat and stinky over the last few years. They hired Dennis Allen, who I said was a bum from the beginning, and nobody believed me. And now all of a sudden, here we are, no Dennis Allen. And whoever took over for him down there did a pretty decent job of getting some wins, a whole lot better than Dennis Allen did. Dennis Allen is a very good defensive coordinator. I heard he got hired at Chicago, so we'll see what he does there with Ben Johnson. That was a good hire. Dennis Allen, very good defensive coordinator. Stinky head coach, stunk with the Raiders, and then stunk with the Saints as well. PENNSMAN, we'll start with you. New Orleans Saints, Kellen Moore.
I think it's a good fit. What he did, what he's doing in offense with Saquon Barkley, with the Eagles and the Eagles offense, if they get a good quarterback, maybe they could fix the passing game. I thought the New Orleans Saints were going to be good. They beat Dallas, which isn't hard. They beat another team, and then week 3, that's when they fell apart. Like the first 3 weeks, I thought the Saints were going to be what the Eagles are, but they fell flat on the face. But we'll see what Kellen Moore does. I like the move.
All right, Ray FIDEPALDO.
Yeah, I mean, listen, New Orleans is in salary cap hell. They don't have a quarterback. But if you're Kellen Moore, and we see this with guys like Bobby Slowick, when a team wants to hire you as a head coach, you got to take it. And this is his shot to coach, to be a head coach in the NFL. Wouldn't make any sense for him to go back to Philadelphia. So we'll see if he can work his magic down there. But, Mickey Loomis has a lot of work to do with, getting compliant with the cap. You got to get some better players down there. And, of course, you got to figure out what you're doing at quarterback. So I like Kellen Moore. I think he's a good coach. I just don't like the situation.
Yeah, I mean, he's stepping into a hornet's nest there, Ray, and I agree with you on that if that's the case down there, which, step into a hornet's nest, you're liable to get stung. But we'll see what Kellen Moore does there. All right, Leo Haggerty.
You know what, guys? I'm going to equate this situation in New Orleans to what happened in Tampa Bay when they fired John Gruden. Was Raheem ready for this? No. Was he going to turn it down? Hell no.
Right.
You only get so many shots.
Yep.
And believe me, if you are young enough, you can always plead youth.
Right.
Okay? That's what's going to happen. You're going to take the best available talent. And the problem with New Orleans was their offensive coordinator never figured out what the Eagles figured out quickly. Your offense runs through Saquon Barkley. Your offense in New Orleans runs through number 41. That's simple. He needed 20 touches a game, and they didn't do it. Plus, New Orleans got decimated with injuries. That's a lot of times we see these teams that get beat and beat so much, they're really banged up. That's a problem. And real quick, the NFL needs to extend its rosters. If they're thinking of going to 18 games, you can't do it with 53 players. You got to get up to the 60s.
No, not at all. All right, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning, our studio sponsor, 724-201-0500. Speaking of that, if you want to be a sponsor, look, Mata's doing really well, doing sponsorship advertising with us here at RW Media. Also, they're doing really well. The original Hometown Pete's, I spoke to them. They said business couldn't be better. They thanked me up and down for what they've done, what I've done with them for here as well, and several other businesses that I have here as sponsors all have told me they're doing very well with sponsorship. If you're interested, 412-545-4317 or Ralph Williams 737@gmail.com. Sponsorship advertising from RW Media Productions. All right, our next segment, we're going to talk about last week's championship games leading into the Super Bowl, and that is brought to you in part by Keystone Coach Works. Look, I went to Keystone Coach Works and I got me a wheelchair accessible van because it makes my life better. And I want to make your life better by you going to Keystone Coach Works, Route 88 in Bethel Park. Talk to Dawn. They'll set you up with financing if you need it. They have a great selection of some great wheelchair accessible vans. They will retrofit it to your needs. They did it for me. They'll do it for you. If you're handicapping in a wheelchair, stop sitting around thinking that you can't get around. Listen, go to Keystone Coach Works or call Dawn today, 412-833-1900, or check out their website at KeystoneCoachWorks.com. All right. Let's talk about last week's championship games. What went wrong with some of this stuff? I think I'm going to start off. I think the Washington Redskins just fell apart. I think the rookie quarterback, Jalen Daniels, in the heat of the moment of this key playoff game, just kind of choked as all rookies do. Leo, start with you.
Well, you know what? I can't put it on him, Ralph. They fumbled 3 times, and none of it was him. But I love the talking heads all week saying, well, Washington's going to put 7 or 8 in the box and stop Saquon Barkley. I chuckle at that because put this in your mind. For easy math, you put 8 in the box. Guess what? If Barkley goes left, those 4 guys to the right, they're no longer in the game. So you've got 4 guys in the box you got to block with center, guard, tackle, and a tight end. And you know what? That Eagles line just ate up the Commanders line. First play of the game. Washington goes 18 plays, goes up 3-0, and 16 seconds later, they're down 7-3 and never got the lead again. So, yeah, this was a huge mistake. Philadelphia just basically ran it down Washington's throat. And when you put 8 in the box, all of a sudden you got Smith, you got Brown, you got Goddard, man to man. That's the dumbest thing in the world. So yeah, the Eagles cooked a 50 burger on them, and rightfully so.
Yeah, you got Jalen Hurts using his legs too. So, it's they had a lot of weapons, and Washington just couldn't stop them. PENNSMAN, your thoughts. And also, you want to add more about Dallas? Go ahead.
With the Dallas, I'll start with that. With the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys hire with that is desperation. Listen, they stopped Mike McCarthy for talking to Chicago, and then the day after, they're like, no, don't do that. Then a few hours before his contract, they're like, all right, we're cutting you loose. I think that's desperation. Now, with the AFC and the NFC, the kudos to the Eagles. They came prepared. The Commanders, they destroyed the Lions. They came prepared for them. They did not prepare for the Eagles. And the Eagles prepared well for the Commanders. They had a good game plan. They couldn't stop Barkley. Barkley ran all over them. And that was the first complete game that I've seen Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. And with the Chiefs and the Bills, the Chiefs stopped paying for the refs. Like Ray said earlier, get a chip in the football. Stop doing it, because that worthy catch was not even a catch. That was incomplete. That first down by Josh Allen's tush push, that was actually a first down. If you don't know, get the index card. That's my take.
All right, go ahead with your take on the Washington Commanders game with the Eagles. Go ahead. Oh, all right. Ray?
Yeah, I'll go. Listen, I'm with Leo. I can't put that on Jaden Daniels. I thought he actually moved the ball okay. They fumbled, and they had to settle for field goals. Washington's weakness all year was its defense, and that reared its ugly head against the Eagles. I was in Philadelphia about 6 weeks ago. The Steelers played the Eagles. They actually shut down Saquon Barkley really well. I think Saquon had like maybe 60, 70 yards. He was not a factor. They put the game in Jalen Hurts' hand, and Jalen killed him. It was A.J. Brown. It was Devontae Smith. He was thrown to Kenneth Gainwell. So the impressive thing about the Eagles is, if you want to be like the Steelers, we'll see what Steve Spagnuolo wants to do. But if you want to do what the Steelers did and you want to shut down Saquon, I think Jalen Hurts can beat you with his weapons on the outside and Dallas Goedert as well. So it's going to be a really interesting Super Bowl. The Eagles were obviously the better team, and Washington just kind of, dug its own grave with all those turnovers.
All right, Leo.
Well, we're moving on to Kansas City, Ralph.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I got everybody. My mistake. I'm sorry. All right, real quick here. I want to make a special announcement. I have re-signed a new contract with AM 1250 The Answer for my both the Ralph Williams, Tony Moreno show and the Sports Corner radio show as well. So I just want to let everyone know we will be back on the Answer, and it was great. It's great to be on their radio station. They're very nice folks there, and I want to thank Salem Media for giving me the opportunity to put my voice out on the radio. Also, I spoke to a media expert yesterday who does ratings and who does analytics. My show with me and Tony Moreno are now beating the Big K in the ratings. So I just want to let everyone know that. Okay. So,
you know what, Ralph? You should name one of your shows The Question, because you're going to be on The Answer.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Exactly. So,
it's
anyway,
Jeopardy.
Yes, it is. This is Jeopardy. So I'll tell you what, though, real quick. I'll tell you who's really aging real quick is what's his face on Wheel of Fortune? Oh gosh, Ryan Seacrest. Oh my gosh, he's 50 years old. He looks like he's 60 the way he looks on there. So, but anyway, all right, let's go to Kansas City and the Buffalo game. Go ahead. We'll start with you, Leo.
I'll tell you what, guys. If it is a conspiracy, they're not doing a real good job of hiding it. I thought, and I talked about this on my Screaming from the Cheap Seats column last week. After what happened with the Houston Texans, You would have thought the NFL would have sat down with that referee crew and say, hey, we can't have any more optics like we're favoring the Chiefs. And gosh almighty, 2 huge plays that are obviously a first down by Buffalo. And obviously, if that's a catch, the defender has 2 hands on the ball. The receiver has 1. Excuse me, that's his ball. And then it hits the ground. I'll tell you what, I sat there and watched the Buccaneers get called for that against the St. Louis Rams. And I'll tell you what, Bert Emanuel is just smiling, going, hey, my catch was better than that. And they called that incomplete. So this is nuts. It's a shame that if it's not happening, that it looks like it's happening. I hope to God when they get to New Orleans next week that this game isn't decided by a couple pieces of yellow laundry on the field that affects the outcome. And I'm so happy the Chiefs are in there, because being an Eagles fan, you got to understand, if you cut me, I bleed cheesesteak. And I don't make any bones about it. The holding call at the end of the game, and the worst thing was Mahomes was mic'd up. As soon as he threw the ball, he's yelling at the ref, holding, holding, holding. They've been doing that all game on both sides of the ball. And they make that call, and I'll tell you what, it was ludicrous. Hopefully, we get a game where the NFL stays out of it.
All right, Ray Fittipaldo, Eagles. I'm sorry. Oh, boy, wow. Kansas City, Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you hope it doesn't come down to the officiating, but with Kansas City, it's going to be a one-score game, right? Like, they're not blowing people's doors off. They're just really good at executing and getting it done in winning time. So, I give them credit on some levels, even though they do benefit a lot from some poor officiating. Not only is it poor officiating, but like what I talked about at the top, like with the NFL's inability to correct some of these errors, it really is bad optics. But for me, until somebody knocks off the Chiefs, I got to go with the Chiefs in this game. But I will say the Eagles haven't been back there a second time now in 3 years. A lot of those guys have experience. I think they potentially could get it done in this game. So I just hope it's a good game. And like you guys said, I hope the officials aren't a big part of the storyline.
PENNSMAN.
I hope the Eagles win, but the Chiefs are the Chiefs. And I'm going back to that Worthy's catch. Jesse James caught the ball against the Patriots in 2017, won the game with 10 seconds to go, had possession, got down, dove to the end zone, got down untouched. Des Bryant, a couple years ago, caught the ball, hit the ground, and they said, no catch. Worthy was really bad. That shouldn't have been a catch. If Jesse James was not a catch, Des Bryant wasn't a catch. Worthy's catch was clearly not a catch. I hope the Eagles win because of their defense, but I can see the Chiefs winning.
All right. I'm torn between this game. And the reason I say this is because I don't want Kansas City to get 3 in a row. I'm torn because I don't want to see Kenny Pickett get a Super Bowl ring. So between the two teams, I'm torn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit back, relax, watch the game, and then whoever wins, that's fine. I'm going to have to live with it because I live with this saying, you can't have your cake and eat it too. So in this situation, I can't have my cake and eat it too. So you know what? I'm just going to sit back and relax and enjoy the game. Whoever wins, wins. But again, I didn't want the Eagles in this game because I didn't want to see Kenny Pickett get a Super Bowl ring, and I didn't want to see the Kansas City Chiefs win 3 in a row. I was looking at Washington and Buffalo as a dream matchup for the Super Bowl, but my dream obviously is not going to happen. So we'll go from there with that, but that's my decision on that. Next, our next segment is brought to you in part by Robin Campbell Insurance. Call Robin today, 412-366-3399. He has insurance for everything you need. Life, home, auto, and renters. Listen, if you are a renter, and I've seen too much of this, fires at your house that you rent, ceilings collapse, and maybe you have some kind of a problem there, and the landlord doesn't want to fix it, Well, you know what? Cover yourself. Look, I know some people out there smoke. I know some people out there drink booze. I know some people out there, they spend their money on foolish things. Look, cut something back and spend the money on a monthly for renter's insurance. It's less than $20. Get a hold of Robin today and get yourself renter's insurance if you rent. Do not trust your landlord. I have seen this too many times. I've been involved in some issues where, I don't trust the landlord, even though I live in a housing, in a HUD building. I don't trust them. So I went out and I got myself renter's insurance with Robin. And let me tell you something. I feel a lot more comfortable because if something happens here again and I have to leave, at least I'm covered. Listen, that's what you need to do. Don't do this to yourself. Don't torture yourself. Cut back on something and get renter's insurance with Farmers and Robin Campbell. 412-366-3399. And please get it. I don't want to see you out on the street. I don't want to see you having to call the Red Cross or something to help you out. Get renter's insurance. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning is our studio sponsor. 724-2010-500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. And please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Ralph Williams, and subscribe to everyone else here. Check out Amped Up Sports and some of the stuff that they do. They do a really good job. South Florida Tribune does an excellent job as well. And check out PENNSMAN's stuff on his YouTube channel. And check out Ray FIDEPALDO. He's on the Post-Gazette website as well with my man Paul Zeiss. And he's on there with Brian Balco and a few other people. And Jerry Dulac, the legend, and several others. He's on there, always talking Steelers sports and things like that. All right, let's do my town. And the interesting thing is Leo's cornered by 3 Pittsburgh guys. So we're going to start with you, Leo, down in Tampa. What's on your mind, my town?
Well, here's what's happening today.
Not my town, local. I don't want to steal Candy's thing from Fire Up, but go ahead, local.
Yeah, well, what we have happening today is USF women's basketball hosting the North Texas Mean Green. They are 8-1. South Florida is 7-2. So that was the team above them. They knocked off Texas San Antonio Wednesday night, who was 8-0 in the conference. Also tonight, we have the Lightning hosting the New York Islanders, and it's Hall of Fame night. Brian Bradley and Rick Peckham, the announcer for years down here, and Brian Bradley was on the first team with the Lightning. They're going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame tonight. So that's what's happening this weekend. USF is down at FAU Sunday afternoon, and that's what's going on. We're just trying to figure out down here what the Rays are going to do because we have no idea. They're going to play at Steinbrenner Field. Are they going to be here next year? Who's going to fix the Trop? We don't know. It's all up in the air.
All right. PENNSMAN Sports. Go ahead.
If you are into bull riding is coming into hold on. Bull riding is coming to the PPG arenas coming up, and there's going to be monster truck coming at PPG Arena. That's why I want to say that's happening local. That it's good to see good things coming into stadiums like bull riding and monster trucks. So it's good to see good things coming in the stadium. That's what's coming in locally.
All right, Ray FIDEPALDO.
Yeah, I'll get away from the Steelers and leave you on a Penguins piece of news here. They are starting the rebuilding process. Marcus Pettersson dealt overnight along with Drew O'Connor. They got some players in return, but more importantly, they got a draft choice, and that's what this team needs. Right now, they're one of the worst teams in the NHL. They need all the draft picks they can get. So finally, Kyle Dubas is doing the right thing. Hopefully there's more trades to come. They got Ricky Raquel that they could deal off for another draft pick. Hopefully that comes. And I don't have great confidence that they can make another run with Sidney Crosby, but hopefully they can at least get back to the playoffs while he's still under contract.
All right, college basketball here in Pittsburgh. College today, noon, Wake Forest versus Pitt at Wake Forest. That's going to be a really interesting game. Those teams down in North Carolina, and we were talking about this before we got on here, PENNSMAN and myself. You know, when you go down in that little triangle down there, you have NC State, you have Wake Forest, you have Duke, you have North Carolina, and you have Clemson. That's all in that little triangle right down in North and South Carolina. And it's interesting how dedicated they are to basketball. I spent 3 weeks down in Raleigh in 2019, and all I heard was Duke this, Duke that. They won every single thing, swimming, baseball, everything. They were winning it left and right. I wish Pitt was like that, but that's, you know, they're getting better with athletics. The volleyball team's done pretty good for themselves, the women's volleyball team. But today, the men's basketball, they play at Wake Forest. And Duquesne, with Drew Joyce III, they're what they call hanging in there. They're at 500. They won some games. They lost some bad games. And they're playing Massachusetts today at the Cooper Fieldhouse. That's going to be an interesting game here. Drew Joyce III went on and got some transfer guys because what happened was when Keith Dambrot stepped away and retired for Duquesne, he left the cupboard bare. So what happened was now Drew Joyce had to go out and really clean things up. And this afternoon, I think it's 3 o'clock start time, Penguins versus the Nashville Predators. Let's see if the Penguins can get a long winning streak going, because what happens with the Penguins is the fact that they always seem to have this 1 or 2 game winning streak and a 10-game losing streak, and it's always a roller coaster. You feel like you're at Kennywood because with the Pittsburgh Penguins. But let's see if they can get some consistency going here with this year as well. And don't forget, next week, pitchers and catchers report for all the teams coming up in the next week or so. And I think the Pittsburgh Pirates are going to go to the World Series. And if they go to the World Series, I will do all my shows naked. So I just want to let everyone know if the Pirates go to the World Series this year. So, you know, that's not going to happen. So you won't see me naked on my shows. So there you go.
Ralph, you forgot one thing about tonight's show.
What's that?
Patrick Hornquist bobblehead night is tonight.
Oh, is it really? Get out of here.
It's Patrick Hornquist bobblehead night.
Wow. I bet that game will sell out. Everybody goes for bobbleheads.
You betcha.
Hey, I'll tell you a really good story. I used to drive a cab, and one of these days I'm going to tell cab stories about some of the sports people I had. I was Mike Webster's personal cab driver, and I had several Steelers and opposing team. I also took Herb Brooks to the airport. I used to be the Penguins' personal cab driver as well. But I want to tell you a little story here that's interesting. Speaking of bobbleheads, then I went over PNC Park one night to pick some guy up, and he was going to one of the hotels out near the airport, and his flight got canceled. He was getting ready to leave. He gave me his Mazeroski bobblehead as a tip, okay, because he didn't want it. He said, here, he had an extra one, and he gave me his other one. And what had happened was I took it home, and my nephew, he's up with the Lord right now. My nephew at the time, he was probably about maybe 5-6 years old or whatever, decided to start messing around with it, and he broke the head off of it. And I was going to trade it in because I heard on eBay right after the game they were getting close to $10,000 per bobblehead for Bill Mazeroski's bobblehead, and I missed out on a good payday. But that's fine, you know. But that's a little story there about a bobblehead. And as far as I'm concerned, I really don't like many bobbleheads to begin with after that story. So anyway, let's close up here right now. How can people get a hold of you, promote your whatever you're doing? We'll start with you, Ray.
Yeah, I'm on X, RayFit1, also postgazette.com. That's where you can find all of our Steelers draft coverage throughout the spring. So obviously a big couple of months for the Steelers as they try to get their roster back on track.
All right, PENNSMAN, how can people get a hold of you?
You can find me on YouTube on PENNSMAN Sports. I have 729 subscribers. Let's get that 1,000. I'm almost there. Subscribe to these guys here. They're good. They're good guys. And you can find me on X on PENNSMAN Sports too.
Leo Haggerty.
Just go to Amped Up Sports on pretty much any platform. You'll find us there. I do a daily post. We cover the Lightning, USF. We cover the Bucks. We cover the Rays, post-game stuff. So, yeah, be a lot of post-game stuff tonight with the Hall of Fame coverage. So go to Amped Up Sports on pretty much any platform you choose.
Hey, Leo, I got a question for you. What happened to J.P. Peterson? I haven't seen him around. Is he okay?
Yeah, he is. I think he's just taking a little bit of a respite.
Okay. I was just wondering. I haven't seen him around on your network or anything. I know he used to have a show. And so I just wanted to see how he was doing. I know when you guys had the floods and them hurricanes and all that down there, I heard he had to get out. I was, concerned about his safety. And I know I watch Ray Kennedy's stuff as well, Tampa Bay Rays. So check out Amped Up Sports. I got some good stuff. Peter Blake as well, and several others that post things, as well as Leo Haggerty. You can catch me on YouTube. I have my own YouTube channel, Ralph Williams RW Media. Please subscribe. I'm at 202. I finally made it over 200, but I need to get more. I don't know what's going on around here. I put on professional shows, and it seems like I can't seem to get any subscribers. But please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Call your friend, call your cousin, call somebody, get them subscribing. Also, you can follow me on Twitter X. Please do that as well. I'm trying to get to 200 by the end of March, so please get me on or follow me on Twitter X as well. I follow 400 people, but I only have 139 followers. I don't get that. So, it seems like that math is a little bit out of order. So, but anyway, also you can catch me on Tumblr, LinkedIn as well, and Facebook also. And don't forget the radio shows, the Ralph Williams, Tony Moreno show, every single Saturday morning, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. with me, Ralph Williams, Tony Moreno. And don't forget here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter X platform, Huddle Sports Network, South Florida Tribune, and also on PENNSMAN Sports as well is the External Bum Show. And also I will be uploading this onto Facebook, Twitter X, and on ampedupsports.com as well. I upload all my shows as well. Don't forget this afternoon, 2 to 3 p.m., the Sports Corner radio show with me, Ralph Williams, and Claudia Rosano, Luther Dupree, and Smokin' Jim Frazier. We have a lot to talk about this afternoon, so tune in, 12:50 a.m., 92.5 FM, The Answer. Both of my shows are really trending very heavily duty all over Western Pennsylvania. As I said earlier, the Ralph Williams, Tony Moreno show is beating out the Big K in ratings. And I was also told that Sports Corner is the #1 rated show as far as analytics on Saturdays in the Western Pennsylvania area as of right now. So I just want to let everyone know that, when the other station is doing syndicated programming. So I just want to let you know that as well. All right. Last minute, let me see here. Any last minute thoughts before we still have a couple minutes? Leo, we'll start with you. Last minute thoughts before we wrap it up.
Well, keep an eye on what's going on in women's basketball. The UCLA Bruins are 20-0. They haven't won. And the reason I bring that up is the NCAA women's basketball tournament is back here in Tampa. You can see UCLA, South Carolina, LSU, and pick anybody for the 4th, and it will be great basketball.
All right, Ray FIDEPALDO.
Yep, I won't be back with you guys, obviously, before the Super Bowl, so I'll give you my prediction. I'm going to go Kansas City 28, Eagles 27, and a barn burner.
Wow. Yeah, we're going to talk about the Super Bowl next week here on the External Bum Show. We're going to dissect both teams, find out who can do what, who's going to do what. Talk a little bit about baseball. College basketball is getting heavy duty. March Madness will be coming up anytime. And we have a whole lot more to talk about next week here on the External Bum Show. PENNSMAN, go ahead with your final thoughts before we wrap it up.
I'd like to congratulate the New York Yankees. Of course, that's my team. But I like to give them kudos because the Tampa Bay Rays are their division rival. But because of what happened in St. Pete, they will let them use George Steinbrenner Field. And I give them kudos to that. You don't usually let a division rival use your own field to use their field. So I like to give credit to the New York Yankees of allowing the division rival to use their baseball field this year.
All right. For Leo Haggerty, Ray FIDEPALDO, PENNSMAN Sports, I'm Ralph Williams. Until next Saturday, have yourself a great weekend. Please be safe. And I want to wish everybody a very happy early Groundhog Day, which is tomorrow. The groundhog, will he see his shadow or will he not see his shadow? And Punxsutawney, that's their Super Bowl up there because it's a blip in the radar. You go through one traffic light and you're done up at Punxsutawney. So I wish them as well. And please drive responsibly. Don't drive DUI. I know a lot of people go up there to get drunk. Please don't cause any accidents with DUIs and everything else. But I want to wish everybody a very happy Groundhog Day, which is tomorrow. Have yourselves a great day. Please be safe. Thank you for watching. And until next week, have yourself a great one.